Welcome in everyone to a chapter 1172 discussion where we're talking about Zoro because he's got a plan. For this first Zoro video on the channel, I brought out the green sweatshirt, the green hoodie, and I also mentioned a few videos back that I had a Sanji cookbook. Yes, and I found it. Now, I think this might actually not be the time or the place, so I'm just gonna put this under the table. I think I should also change this to green. Bang. Now we are Zoro ready as I fix the foreground for discussion about what his plan could be. Some of the prevailing theories. I've seen some discussions about, hey, Zoro's plans have been kind of stupid. Historically, he doesn't come up with the best plans, which is fair. It is kind of concerning how, well, I guess it's not concerning because we've seen the solution to this, which is Robin, Nami, other people on the crew that have more of a thinking brain. The captain and the first mate are the most clueless members of the entire crew. If there's someone coming up with a plan, I would not want it to be Zoro or Luffy. Because with Zoro, when I say plan, the first thing that you're probably thinking of is on Little Garden, when he was trapped by Mr. 3. His idea to get out of the wax was to cut off his legs and go fight. Hey, that might have worked. Probably not, but it could have. And then don't forget, in all seriousness, actually, in Alabasta, he was the one that had that idea for, like, the X on everybody's arm. The purpose of that, of course, was if you ran into Bon Clay impersonating one of the Straw Hats, you could show someone the X on the arm or ask him if he knows what that is, and that would help you figure that out. So Zoro's had a real plan in the past, and will it be a good plan this time? Well, if there is any idea that this is kind of it's going to be something stupid and not relevant, I don't think that makes any sense because this is in the bottom last left panel of the entire chapter. So Oda's telling us, hey, 1173 or the near future, Zoro's going to be doing something. Now, the prevailing theory about what he's going to be doing is I'm seeing that people are thinking he's going to tell Dory and Bragi, hey, which one of you is stronger, which would spark a fight. Or it could, in theory, spark a fight. Now, this is coming from that idea that when the Straw Hats met Dory and Bragi originally at Little Garden, they were fighting. Why were they fighting? Because someone asked them which of their sea kings they caught was better. Yep, that started a very long conflict until the Straw Hats get there. So that's the idea, is that they're going to do it again, or Zoro's going to do that again. I don't think that makes sense for a couple reasons. Now, we know Zoro came up with Hiruden from the underworld. We see him talking to him in one of the panels on the page to the left of this one. Hiruden is currently looking at Dory and Bragi. Zoro's group has been caught up on, hey, this is what's going on in the Sun World. So now that he's there, and I know it looks like he's about to attack Dory and Bragi, but is he? Wouldn't it make a lot of sense? And maybe we didn't see this happen. Hiruden says, hey, we'll take Dory and Bragi. You go help your crew. You go help the kids. You take on the Holy Knights. Because that should be priority 1 and 2, right? Save the kids. Stop the Holy Knights. Yes, Dory and Bragi are important. They're currently on a mission to kill Jarl, and I have an idea for that in a second. But that's not the number 1 priority. But if that is where this is going, Zoro says, hey, Dory and Bragi, which one of you is stronger? And that could start a fight. Now, I don't think that's going to work for a couple reasons. The idea is that the giant warrior spirit might be able to overcome the Dami Reversi. Doesn't seem like that should be something that's able to happen. In Zoro, would he even know anything about Dami Reversi? And the answer is probably no, because God Valley, although Gaban was there, we don't see Gaban talk to him about God Valley. We do see Gaban discuss the Holy Knights and how they have weaknesses to conquer Saki. But if you remember, God Valley was a flashback that happened, well, we got the Herald flashback, right, about 14 years ago, what happened to cause his death, because Loki was in the underworld trying to get free, telling Hiruden, hey, I didn't really kill our father, here's what really happened. And then we go into that God Valley flashback, which was just the narrator telling us what happened 38 years ago. This wasn't like outwardly being told to everyone. So 38 years ago, Rox gets the Dami Reversi, and here's why I don't think it would work. Rox gets instructed by Imu to go teach an Eris. The only reason that he did anything but that was because Rox and Garp got in the way. Now, he wasn't thinking, hey, I want to go fight Roger and Garp right now. They just got in his way, and that was something that he had to do in order to go kill Teach and Eris. So we didn't actually see him disobey, and I would like to think Rox has more, I know the Giants are big, of a willpower to disobey that than Dory and Bragi. That's just my thoughts on it. I don't think that's going to work. Another thought on that, we see Zoro unsheathing a sword as he's saying, I've got a plan. So potentially he says, hey, which one of you is stronger? Trying to start a fight. That doesn't work. And then he says, okay, I'm just going to cut them. And could that work? I think it actually could. Because Gabana mentioned, hey, Holy Knights, Conqueror's Haki, that's what I've used. So Zoro might be thinking, okay, can I infuse Enma with Conqueror's Haki and attack them? And that might be where he goes, and that might work. Because Zoro's plans usually do revolve around cutting, and that could make sense that that's where he's going to go with it this time. That's just my thoughts. But I want to talk about Jarl for a second. There's an idea about Jarl that I'm not really seeing anywhere. Because there's one particular panel where Zoro's with Hiruden, and Jarl's, of course, giving a speech like, hey, world government, we're never going to obey you. You could take the children hostages. We are not going to become a army of giant warriors for you. Which is great, and during that speech, of course, Jarl just tells a lie like, hey, Hard was killed by a demon. Well, kind of. I mean, yes, no, Loki was the one who killed him, but yes, like he was being controlled by what we think is a demon of some sort, potentially. Kind of. But the whole thing I'm getting at is in that one panel where Zoro's like, okay, he's giving a speech. I like that guy. Hiruden says 3 centuries ago he was the strongest man on the sea. Why would Oda say that? Why would he be building up Jarl like that? It's only one singular panel, and of course it's during Jarl's speech. That could be it. But Oda doesn't really do anything half done. What I think could be happening is Bonnie's on Elbaf, right? I know she's far away from, or maybe not far away, but she's not with Jarl at the moment. Jarl's at one of the villages. Why couldn't she use her Age fruit on Jarl and bring back Prime Jarl? Right? That would be amazing. That could be a solution to Dorian Broggy, which would make a ton of sense. So again, by thought, I really think Zoro, I mean, he's unsheathing the sword, right? Like, I think he's about to go fight someone. And of course, it would make a ton of sense. Dorian Broggy, you're right there. But maybe, in my opinion, he could be going and trying to fight someone else. Like, the Holy Knights would be a group that would make the most sense to me. A couple other theories I'm hearing is that he might work with Brook of some sort to kind of release Gunko from a Dami Reverse Eye and free everyone via that route. I think it's a little bit too complex for Zoro. I don't think he can really think that far, and even he's even aware of all those things. And the other theory that I've heard that could make the most sense, although again, I don't really think it's happening, because if you cut the branch and fall everyone into the underworld, that could just create a lot of problems. Like, are they willing to kind of destroy Elbaf in order to save everyone? I think at this point, actually, the answer might be yes. Because at this point, you know, it's about to be full-on war, right? Jarl basically just said, hey, world government, we're not going to work for you. We're going to fight you. We're not going to be an army of warriors for us. So that could be a thing where Zoro says, hey, I'm just going to cut the branch. Everyone's going to fall into the underworld, which, again, would that even solve the problem? Potentially. I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of real interesting ways that 1173 could go. It does make sense that he's going to go probably try to fight Dorian Broggy, infuse Enma with Conqueror's Haki, and then see if that works, which of course it probably will, but then they're going to regenerate, and where do we go from there? Well, at some point, right, we need to see Loki's Devil Fruit. What's actually going on with that? And then who's Luffy going to fight? So there are some additional questions that need to be answered, because even if Zoro does attack Dorian Broggy, as I just said, they're going to regenerate. So what's the point? Not really sure. Maybe just to see what happens when we attack him with Conqueror's Haki? Okay. Maybe that then will be the point where we see Loki and we go, okay, how did he kill Harold? Well, we see this Devil Fruit, and that's what he's able to use to stop the Dama Reverse Eye and potentially kill Dorian Broggy. Or potentially free them, because this might be the moment where Oda shows us, like, hey, eventually Oda is going to get into more about what's going on with Emu, his powers, and maybe this is where we learn how do you either solve Dummy Reverse Eye, how do you kill someone with it, which, I mean, I guess we already know you use Conqueror's Haki, and that kind of emits enough power to be able to stop them. Then we saw Garling was able to kill him, so maybe we see more details on it. Not sure. Do you guys have any ideas on 1173? If so, please let me know. I would appreciate that. And I've got a couple more videos coming up this week. I think tomorrow I'm going to talk about the Holy Knights, and we're going to dive deep because, you know, a lot of the discussion about the Holy Knights is that they're frauds, which, yes, I'm not going to say all of my opinions on it until tomorrow, but there have been some fraudulent moments, but not all of them. There are some Holy Knights that, hey, they've, you know, maybe some of the ones in Elbaf have actually done what they were supposed to do, at least up to this point. And then I think on Saturday, I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna do continue to go on that One Piece movie spree, which I did right here. If you want to see the first one, we're on our road to movie 4, which was just the best movie, Dead End Adventure. If you haven't seen that, but yeah, if you guys like this, appreciate it. If you leave a like and a sub, and yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow.